publicity is good publicity.
WNBA players wore t-shirts.
The shirt she had on.
They had a message for Kathy.
A statement to the WNBA. Pay us what you owe us.
That's a big statement.
Caitlin Clark rocking the shirt, so I give Caitlin full credit for that.
We feel like we are owed a piece of that pie that we helped to create.
2 minutes ago, Caitlin Clark made headlines again. Not for a buzzer beater, but for a bold statement.
Pay us what you owe us.
At the WNBA All-Star Game, she wore a shirt that read, "Pay us what you owe us."
Caitlin Clark and the ladies definitely found herself on the cover of News after coming out wearing shirts that they deserve more equality and they deserve more pay.
And now she's facing serious backlash.
Caitlin Clark has received a lot of heat from the players.
Some even say it could cost her everything. But before we go deeper, if you believe Caitlin Clark stood up for what's right, drop a 100% in the comments. Let's show her she's not alone.
We love you, CC.
There's one person in this league that when she walks in the building, when she walks in the room, the owners see dollar signs. There's only one person and her name's Caitlin Clark.
The 2025 WNBA All-Star Game was supposed to be a celebration. Packed stands, a high-scoring shootout.
WNBA All-Star Game just wrapped up.
And some of the league's brightest stars. But what stole the spotlight wasn't the final score. It was a message. Bold, direct, and impossible to ignore.
Caitlin Clark and the ladies definitely found herself on the cover of News after coming out wearing shirts that they deserve more equality and they deserve more pay.
As players removed their warm-ups before tip-off, they revealed black t-shirts with 5 words that sent shockwaves through the league. Pay us what you owe us.
This t-shirt that says, pay us what you owe us. Oh, man. Talk about trying to stick it to the man, all right? Well, stick it to the woman.
They come out in the All-Star Game wearing pay us what you owe us t-shirts. WNBA players whose salaries are subsidized by the NBA.
Both teams wore them. The timing was no accident.
Players, they had a message for Kathy, man, right at the beginning with these t-shirts.
The league is in the middle of intense CBA negotiations, and this was their moment.
Tonight was an opportunity, especially amid CBA negotiations, to really showcase what this league is about, what this league has at its disposal, the talent within this league. But what did they do?
On national television, biggest event of the year, all eyes watching. But one player's shirt stood out more than the rest.
The WNBA players reveal under their warm-ups t-shirts a statement to the WNBA. Pay us what you owe us. Statement is being made. You got Caitlin Clark rocking the shirt.
Caitlin Clark's. Caitlin, the league's biggest name, had every reason to stay neutral. After all, she's been the face of the WNBA's revival.
She is in full support. She's going full throttle with the players in these CBA negotiations, trying to get more money, more benefits.
The one selling out arenas, driving up ratings, and making headlines around the world. She's also faced endless criticism all season, from brutal fouls to media drama to being singled out by other players. And yet, she still stood with them.
Caitlin Clark was wearing the shirt. That's a big statement. And Caitlin Clark, you know, I said that shirt could basically say, pay us what you owe her.
That moment changed everything. Many fans were stunned. Critics didn't see it coming. Caitlin had been under fire from all directions, from referees ignoring obvious fouls, to players calling her fans racist.
From the refs to Kathy to the players who have they've called all of her fans racist, all types of stuff she's had to deal with. I did not know if she would be in full support.
To media trying to pit her against the league. So why would she risk more heat by aligning herself with the very system that's given her so much pain? Simple. Because it was the right thing to do.
Look, it's a good thing that the players and teams are all together.
Her decision wasn't about headlines. It wasn't about ego. It was about unity. She joined her fellow players, including those who haven't always supported her, and demanded a better future for all women in the league. And just like that, the All-Star Game wasn't just a game anymore.
Oh, they're protesting. They're not just taking no for an answer.
It was a statement, a protest, a movement.
It's not really a hard boycott because they're still playing. It's not like they're just sitting out of the All-Star game. So they're at least doing a soft boycott here.
It's these T-shirts and how bad that looked with them coming out on the court wearing those T-shirts.
The fans noticed.
Fans started chanting, "Pay them." This is the shirt that everybody was wearing, was the Pay Us shirt.
The media noticed. And most importantly, the league noticed. But this show of unity came at a cost.
That would hurt them so much. And it doesn't help anybody. Doesn't help anybody. Stop doesn't help them. It doesn't help the owners. Doesn't help the WNBA itself, the brand.
What started as a unified stand quickly became a viral firestorm. And the next chapter, it's not pretty. The moment those shirts hit the court, it was like lighting a match in a room full of gasoline, especially with Caitlin Clark wearing one. What followed wasn't just backlash, it was an online inferno. Critics didn't waste a second. Some called it entitled, others embarrassing, and some even went as far as saying Caitlin should stay in her lane. But why? Why did a simple 5-word message, "Pay us what you owe us," cause so much anger? Because it came from her.
Obviously, she wants to get paid more too. We want to be paid more. We want to be paid what we deserve.
The one player who everyone agrees is actually owed something. Let's be clear. Caitlin Clark isn't just another rookie. She's the reason the WNBA is having a historic season.
All of these players are looking to get paid off the back of Caitlin Clark.
Since she entered the league, ratings have jumped over 20%. Road games featuring the Indiana Fever sell out arenas. Merchandise is flying off shelves. Social media impressions are breaking records. She's not just a basketball player. She's a one-woman marketing engine. Yet when Caitlin stood next to players who've criticized her all season, players who've thrown shade, disrespected her fans, and even tried to isolate her from the league, the narrative flipped. Suddenly, people weren't talking about unity. They were accusing her of being part of some ungrateful rebellion.
We love you, CC, but the NBA and the WNBA are business, and you are paid according to what the business brings in. And the numbers are a little lopsided there, CC. There's a huge difference in 11 billion and 200 million.
The harshest critics claimed she was being used, that other players were riding her coattails, trying to use her star power to push a message they couldn't amplify on their own. Comments like, "Only Caitlin deserves a raise. The rest shouldn't earn more than DoorDash drivers."
Only her. The rest shouldn't make more than DoorDash.
They're all just trying to get rich off Caitlin's back. Pay her what she's owed, not them. And worst of all, some even questioned if Caitlin should face consequences for her actions.
Caitlin Clark has received a lot of heat from the players. So this actually says a lot about her, the fact that she's still willing to stand with these players.
Pundits floated dangerous ideas like, she might get benched, she's dividing the league, and even, this could hurt her long-term with sponsors or team management.
Caitlin Clark stuck her foot in that door and said, wait, the big dog's here. The big dog is here.
Let that sink in. The player who saved the league from shutting down, the one who brought millions of new fans to women's basketball, is now facing calls for punishment, for standing in solidarity with her peers. It's not just hypocrisy, it's a reflection of how uncomfortable the league and its critics are with seeing Caitlin wield her influence in ways they can't control.
I don't see these owners bending. I don't see them really giving in on this.
And let's not forget the double standard at play here. NBA players have worn shirts for social causes, from I Can't Breathe to equality, and were praised as leaders. But when WNBA players, led by Caitlin's example, wear a shirt about fair pay, suddenly it's a scandal. Then there's the media. Instead of focusing on the message behind the shirt, like the ongoing CBA talks or the unfair salary structures, most headlines focused on drama.
It does feel like the WNBA becomes a fodder machine for takes and then rage bait.
Caitlin Clark faces backlash after wearing protest shirt. All-star game overshadowed by shirt controversy. Is Caitlin Clark risking her career? So now the focus isn't on what the players are asking for. It's on how uncomfortable their unity made everyone else feel. And somehow, once again, Caitlin Clark became the lightning rod. Not for what she said, but simply for refusing to stay silent. She didn't cause this controversy.
The WNBA grossed approximately $200 million. However, despite this revenue, the league is projected to have operated at a loss.
But she's being forced to carry its weight. And in doing so, Caitlin just proved something far more powerful than a box score. She's not just here to play, she's here to lead. In a league built on resilience, no one expected Caitlin Clark, the rookie, the newcomer, the heavily scrutinized face of the WNBA, to carry the weight of the entire pay equity movement on her back.
These players are already getting paid 6 figures plus to only work 4 months out of the year. They're getting paid 6 figures plus to show up at practice for an hour and a half, 2 hours a day.
But that's exactly what happened. And the deeper you look, the more powerful her decision becomes. See, this wasn't just about one game or one shirt. This was about what the shirt stood for. The words, "Pay us what you owe us," weren't a random protest slogan. They were a cry from the players. Not for NBA-sized contracts, not for fame, but for a fair share of the money they themselves are helping generate, was how others around her responded. Sabrina Ionescu, sitting right beside her at the press conference.
Name another multi-million-dollar business that has been around since '96 and never turned even $1 in profit in 29 years.
That's true. But this year, this is different. Ratings are up by over 20%. Attendance is rising.
Ratings are up 23% or something like that. It was over 20% this year. The attendance is up the same this year.
Merchandise is selling out. A massive new media rights deal is on the horizon. In fact, that growth hasn't even fully hit the league's books yet. The financial momentum is building, and the players can feel it.
The new money that's coming in. There is more money coming in. So yes, the one thing can be true about the losses. Another thing can be true. The money's coming in.
That's what this moment is about. And Caitlin Clark knows it. She's not demanding equal pay with LeBron James. She's not asking for a billionaire bonus. What she and the players are saying is this: if we're the ones making this league more valuable, give us a bigger slice of the pie. Just like NBA players get a revenue split, around 50%, WNBA players are asking for something closer to fair.
The constant message is about the revenue share, the revenue split, which would inherently raise up the salaries.
Right now, they receive less than 10%.
They make revenue. They just don't make a profit. That's the difference. It's a difference between the profit and revenue.
Now, here's the kicker. The All-Star shirts weren't just about the present. They were about the future. Caitlin understood that. She knew she's making more money off the court than on it, through commercials, endorsements, and sponsorships. But she also knows that most players don't have that privilege.
Everybody knows, I'm sure, how integral she is to this aspect, but she's also not the only player in the league.
Not everyone is signing million-dollar Nike deals. Not everyone has national exposure. Some are grinding for just $75,000 a year, traveling back-to-back.
You are taken aback by the fact that somebody's salary might be $75,000.
Pushing through injuries with little protection.
We don't have time. We enter now a grueling second half of the season, and teams are trying to make playoff pushes. Players are trying to get back from injury. And so I think obviously that's something as players we got to continue to stand on.
All while helping the league grow. And this is where Caitlin's leadership shines the brightest. She didn't say, "Pay me." She said, "Pay us." She stood next to the same players who've called her overrated, who've questioned her toughness, who've thrown elbows, shade, and disrespect her way. And still, she put her name, her brand, and her reputation on the line for them. Not because they asked her to, but because it was the right thing to do. That's leadership. That's character. That's bigger than basketball. Because the truth is, Caitlin Clark could have played it safe. She could have taken the high road, smiled for cameras, and let the business side play out behind closed doors. But instead, she made herself a target again, not to boost her image, but to demand justice for all the women sharing this fight.
WNBA is making money hand over fist with these new young all-stars, and they deserve to make more money.
And let's be honest, she didn't need to do this. She's already single-handedly responsible for the biggest growth spike in WNBA history. She could have said, "Let the numbers speak for themselves." But she didn't. She said, let's make sure those numbers benefit everyone, not just me. Caitlyn's shirt said, pay us what you owe us. But it might as well have said, I'm not doing this alone. And here's what's truly crazy. While so many people are trying to spin her move into controversy, the real question they're avoiding is this. What happens if more players like Caitlin Clark stop staying silent? What happens when the next generation of stars, influencers, and rookies come into the league already knowing their worth? What happens when the WNBA realizes that women's sports aren't just a side project or a social cause, but a legitimate, growing global industry?
If you don't allow these new players to come in who are used to being on these new platforms, you're going to fall behind, all right? You are going to fall behind. So find a way to get these new players on these rosters, and it'll help y'all stay up to date on these new platforms, and you will get new eyes, man, new viewership, more viewership.
That moment, it started now, and Caitlyn lit the match. Because the real danger isn't Caitlyn's shirt. The real danger, for those in power, is that the fans, the media, and the players are finally asking the same question. If the league is rising, why aren't the players rising with it? Caitlyn didn't create this conversation. She just made sure the world couldn't ignore it anymore. For months, Caitlin Clark has been at the center of everything. The praise, the hate, the pressure, the hope. And somehow, through it all, she just keeps showing up. Even when refs swallowed their whistles. Even when veterans threw elbows instead of respect. Even when she was left off Team USA. Even now, and when she's being blasted for wearing a shirt in support of her peers, she shows up. That's what sets Caitlyn apart. It's not just the logo threes or no-look assists. It's the quiet power she brings, the ability to lift an entire league, even when that league isn't always lifting her. When Caitlyn's on the court, ticket prices double. When she's off, they drop, in some cases, by nearly 50%.
Tickets went down 50% in an all-star game because she's not playing.
That's not hype. That's data. That's business. She's not just popular. She's profitable. And still, she doesn't act like it. She's never demanded superstar treatment. She's never thrown her weight around. And when it came time to stand for something, she didn't center the moment around herself. She joined it. That's what the pay us shirt really meant coming from Caitlyn. Not entitlement, not rebellion, just solidarity.
If they were going to make the statement like that, you should have balled out. You should have balled out a little bit harder.
The kind this league desperately needs more of. Because here's the truth the critics don't want to admit. Caitlin Clark is doing more to grow this league than anyone else, and yet she's also absorbing more backlash than any rookie in WNBA history. She's not protected. She's not prioritized, she's not coddled, but she still gives the league everything. And maybe that's what scares people, because Caitlyn represents what's possible when a player has both talent and purpose, when they understand the game and the business. She's not just playing to win, she's playing to elevate the league, the fans, the future, even when she's doubted, even when she's disrespected, even when she's left out, shut down, or told to know her place. She keeps pushing forward.
I want to watch Caitlin Clark ball. Now, I support all of you, but I need to see some Caitlin Clark balling now. Come on now. I need to see Caitlin balling. All right, don't take that from me.
And brings the league with her. This isn't just about salary negotiations. It's about value. And Caitlin Clark is proving every single day that the real value of the WNBA isn't just what's printed on a check. It's the impact players like her have on everything around them. The culture, the economy, the future of the game. And whether they realize it or not, the league is standing on her shoulders right now. Caitlin Clark didn't just wear a shirt. She wore the weight of a league on her shoulders, knowing the backlash, knowing the risks, and still choosing to stand up for something bigger than herself. She could have stayed silent. She could have protected her image. But instead, she chose to lead. Not with her words, but with her actions. And now, while critics scream and owners calculate, one truth stands taller than all the noise. Caitlin Clark is not just changing the game, she's changing the future of women's sports. So if you believe she did the right thing, if you believe she deserves more than backlash for showing courage, drop 100% in the comments. Because history won't remember the noise. It'll remember who had the guts to stand in the storm.